The following stream contains mature content and subject matter. Viewer discretion is advised. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Queen's Gambit.
I am Mama McStabber, and tonight I'll be playing Queen Jacqueline Durand of Clan Ventru, who is Queen of Milwaukee.
I'm Gina Van Esch, and I'm playing Alpha Guinevere, Father's Justice Kent, Shadow Lord, and Judge of Doom.
Hello, I'm Maddox, and today I will be playing Tegan, the representative of the Changelings.
Hi, everybody. I'm the Ravenous Archon, and I get to once again play the fabulous Franklin Elias Crown of the Hermetic Order of Mages.
And tonight I'm playing Delphyne, a oracle of the Restless Dead. As we open up, Franklin and Jackie have gathered in the ballpark.
In our private box that we meet in.
In the private box to discuss, well, this upcoming meeting that is supposed to be attended by some other supernaturals in the area. And as they're standing there looking over the maps of the Null Zone, I turn it over to Franklin and Jackie.
Thank you, Franklin, for summoning others to this, and I know Tendon Ripper did some connections as well. She takes out of her bag a book. Some information was dropped off on my desk from the spirit realm. It's
Immediately switch over to Prime Site. Does it look any different?
This one is a copy.
Oh,
Because that one went poof, as things do from that side. I have had my people looking at it, trying to translate as best they can. It seems to be a Tremia Tristi on the Null Zone. And it mentions the icons of the werewolves that likely were used to create the issues we have.
From what Miss Graves has told me, the vampires you call Tremere used to belong to the Hermetic Order, so there might be some ciphers that are known to me and my kind.
Indeed.
May I?
Absolutely.
I'll flip through the book just to get a kind of beat on it. I'll put it back down, open to what looks like some Hermetic writing, and then I'll close my eyes and I'll pull from the ether using matter and prime enough quintessence to just create 5 total copies. just underneath one, underneath the other, so the book comes up. Yeah, these are hermetic sigils here.
Are they? Roscoe thought they might be.
This is interesting. When was this written?
The best we can say is we don't know exactly when it was started, likely near the founding of the Milwaukee Chantry, the original one. It appears that one of the Tremere in residence there was studying the null zone exclusively. And I would suspect this was destroyed when the Chantry fell, since it was on the other side and brought back.
Do we know if this was pre-1960 then?
Yes.
Fascinating. My research has led me to believe that pre-1960, the null zone was wilder, more unrefined, and it wasn't until a member of my kind placed a church that it finally solidified its shape, so to speak.
That would explain some of what we found in the earliest records in the book. But it seems that a werewolf had stolen 2 icons from different septs and used them in some sort of ritual to destroy a lot of vampires in the center of the city.
Did not think that the icons were used for that kind of thing.
It appears that they fractured.
There is a knock on the entryway where Etienne would step in and be escorting a noticeably androgynous individual. There is no clear gender representation being shown. The clothing is very loose-fitting, seems almost as if it's clothes that are meant to be removed in a hurry, and then topped with a simple but very elegant and well cared for hoodie. And they step into the room. Their hair is sort of tousled and dark black. Their eyes are, as far as the human side can see, a very dark brown, almost black, as some eyes can get. For Franklin, who I'm certain through various bullshit can see,
yes,
this individual has like webbing between their fingers. Their eyes are not dark brown. They are a glossy black, like a seal's. And there seems to be a faint scent of the ocean after a storm, as well as bits of water that only you can seem to see dripping off of them. And they simply enter and give an acknowledging nod and sort of look around the room real quick.
Welcome. You're not one of the lupines.
No.
Different look about you.
Yeah, no, I'm better than some wolf. No, I am a representative from the Kithane.
Ah, the Fae.
The Fae. Ah, welcome.
And I could tell I was in the right spot, and they sort of thumb back to Etienne because he feels a bit off.
He should. He's mine.
You feel worse.
Of course I do. I will try my best to keep distance. I understand there's a reason why our paths often don't cross. I am Queen Jacqueline Durand of Milwaukee, Queen of the Vampires here.
Franklin Crown. I'm at the head of the established order of mages here in the city.
You can
come sit by me. It's comfortable.
And they'll go over and sit down. Now, it's not casual sitting, but it's definitely not like rigid, like they're not sitting like they're at school. You can call me Tegan. I am a representative for the Duchess that runs the freehold here in the city.
Oh. You have a high status with the Duchess?
I am simply who she could get for the moment. I like to think I'm a decent pick, however.
Excellent. I'll close one of the copies of the book and slide it to Tegan. You may take that to your Duchess then.
Am I allowed to read it?
Of course, it's your copy.
Certainly.
Your kind's copy.
Start thumbing through it a bit casually.
It is a record of a Tremere that was studying the Null Zone, likely from shortly after its creation.
Tremere. Forgive me if I don't know the
It is
term.
vampires that are prone to sorcery that involves blood.
Oh. Grim.
Yes, but they are usually significantly academic.
See anything piques your interest? Anything familiar to you?
There's certain footnotes, but it's this section here, and they'll like maneuver the book to show the both of you.
Yeah.
This specifically says fragments, which would be plural.
Yes.
Does it mention anywhere in here of a specific number? That would be useful.
If you look a bit later, I think it's about 10, 12 pages behind that one. It will go over approximately how many that Tremere estimated it likely would have been based on the explosion that happened. The calculations that he used to come up with those estimates. And that it seems that many of them went to different planes of existence.
Unfortunately.
And it's clearly that thing of I'm reading, but clearly still paying attention sort of reaction right now. So it's a lot of flipping through the book, but you can tell that most of their focus is still on the two of you just for conversation.
Me and my kind have been trying to use the church at the center of the Null Zone as a focal point to punch a hole into the far realms. It's been touch and go. I think we're missing, because of this being a werewolf's doing, I think we need something that belongs to them to help us hone our search. So this Lupine that you called in might be one of the better persons to start talking to.
Guru is what we prefer.
How very French.
And she just
Thank
walks
you.
in. Don't wait for Etienne to knock. She just walks past him.
She's in a black suit, pencil skirt, high heels, putting her phone away. Apologies. Problems with a club. Oh, Alpha Guinevere. Grandfather's Justice Boar Mohammed. I am a Shadow Lord. That's Philodox and the Judge of Doom.
Pleasure.
I don't know what any of those words mean.
We need that.
Means I'm powerful, I exact justice, and I judge everyone.
No.
Those words I understand.
Of course, Silky.
Does
I smell it on you.
that's not right. And their hand will reach over and just like place like just the fingertips on top of another copy and slide it over to her and then go back to reading.
Pleasure to make your acquaintance. I am
Of
Queen
course.
Jacqueline Durand. I sent Tendon Ripper out to you. Yes, this is... I believe you are now an Archmagus?
I don't like titles, but I sit at the head of the table here in Milwaukee. That's all
This
that
is
matters.
Franklin Crown.
Madam.
My name is Tegan. I am only a representative for the one who actually rules over most of us for Milwaukee, but she is rather busy at the moment, so I am, for all intents and purposes for this meeting, the authority on my kind.
You tell the lady that I did miss her, and I made sure I brought fine wine for her. Pity she couldn't attend.
She's been dealing with things.
That copy is yours, just so you're aware.
Yes.
Oh,
This
yeah.
book, the original was left on my desk, I believe, by a spirit from not one of your spirits, the spirits of the dead. The original, right after we got the first copy made, the original disappeared before we could even translate things. But we do have the copy. We've done some translations. Franklin is now inspecting it further, and these copies are for you.
Appreciate it.
This is a record of a Tremere who had studied intensely the null zone. From most certainly prior to 1960. I'm thinking based on his record keeping, it likely was shortly after it became a thing.
I've only lived in the city for about 5 years now, so I'm not certain. When did this zone crop up?
Hundreds of years ago? Yeah. Wouldn't it?
Thereabouts.
Historically, it would have been before Menelaus and Helen fought even.
Mm-hmm. I believe it was around the 1780s.
Long before our time.
So clearly you, and they gesture to Jackie, were the only one who witnessed it.
No, I wasn't even born yet, but thank you.
I just assume all of you are ancient.
No, not all of us are. Definitely old enough to be your great-grandmother, but I am not that old. However, it is likely that this Tremere might have even been here before there was a chantry. But once there was a chantry in Milwaukee, I think this one might have been in it, because that's the only way I could understand this book getting destroyed is when the chantry fell.
What happened to the chantry, if I may ask? Because this was part of your predecessor's work, yes?
It was under my predecessor's watch that it happened. From what I understand, there was a concentrated raid between Sabbat and Black Spiral dancers on the chantry. It was destroyed. I have not been able to get too much information. The current pontifex of the region, she is not in city, but she is a bit close to the chest with her information. However, towards the end of the book, he starts talking about a piece that was constructed within the chantry, that if the other fragments of the icons, because likely in the use of this, please forgive me, Guinevere, but he reported in this book that a lupine had stolen 2 icons from Seps.
Totems.
Totems, thank you for the correction.
Totems.
The totems were used in some sort of ritual by this guru to wipe out a number of vampires.
That sounds accurate. Yeah.
However, in the process of this ritual, the totems were destroyed or fragmented in an explosion that also killed the guru.
Sacrificed himself for Gaia.
These fragments are in various planes of existence, according to this Tremere researcher. And if they can be found and brought back together, a ritual needs to be performed with a key piece, a keystone, that was crafted by the Tremere.
They crafted a keystone for totems.
Yes.
He
believed that if the totems could be restored, it would settle the null zone.
It's far-fetched, but it is the best angle we have. Can your totems be restored?
If Gaia wills it as well as the spirits, I wouldn't see why not. And that sounds completely logical for us.
Suddenly you start hearing, it's a city. City noise is the only way to describe it. Hubbub of crowds. And then a slit appears that slowly widens until you're looking, it appears to be from a balcony, looking out over a city that you've never seen before. It is a city built off of pieces. Looks like some buildings are made from 5 or 6 different materials, but there's crowds of people moving around this city. And a woman steps through, dark of skin, tall, wearing black, and an ornate mask that looks to be made of bone with gold inlay. You can rest assured that fate has stated it can be restored. And as she comes through, the opening behind her disappears, and she pulls her mask down to reveal a perfectly smooth, dark-skinned face as she holds the mask in her hand. I will be called Delphyne.
Delphine.
The threads of fate have said it can be restored, but not whether it will be restored. Or whether it will be restored starts with this meeting. I know you don't know me from anyone else. Let me prove who I am. And she reaches in the air and pulls her hand back with a book. It's singed, looks burnt in places, but Jackie recognizes it. It was on her desk at one point, and she lays it down over the map. That came from a Tremere who died protecting it in the fire. His love of that book, his life's work, caused it to come to my side.
You're the one that left it on my desk.
Yes. It won't stay here long. It can't. It must return to my side. There's no way to stop that. But I am sure the mage will be able to verify its authenticity for us.
I'll take a look at it. Use everything in my arsenal. Is it a feather? No, right? Because it's...
No, can't be, because it's on the other side.
Yeah.
But you know it came from the chantry. It was destroyed in a fire.
I'm going to use time and correspondence to see how exactly it was shunted into the Shadowlands.
This Tremere was holding it to his chest as he burned. He tried to protect it with his own body.
I describe what I see to everybody.
I believe the keystone never left the chantry. There are certain things in there that Advisor Akers has said likely it is still there, hidden. I will have my people retrieve it.
I believe that I know one of these totems. Could be in what we call the far realms. We have not been able to create a whole, and I will admit that we don't have the elegance that your kind has with stepping sideways, I think you call it. So we punch holes into the far realms. Could I ask for some kind of totem that we could use to give us a focal point?
I can get you one. That's not a problem.
It would need to be powerful.
Would I give you anything less?
I want to make sure that we understand each other and that there will be no misunderstandings and no hard feelings if your totem becomes destroyed in the process.
Well, if you're going to punch through the Umbra, then it will break, but it will punch you through. I understand correctly. I would not come here and sit amongst you if I was here to just be blasé. If I say give you something, I will give you something.
Very civilized. Thank you.
Why would I not be civilized?
There are rumors about your kind.
Yes, but you...
Rumors about yours.
Yes.
Oh.
I mean, I can count the Karens.
Jackie
them
looks
nodes.
at Delphine and says, "There is a citadel at the heart of it."
Yes, there is. But that is no concern for this. This totem, we must make the attempt. Because if not, in time, what the mage's companion did will be undone, and it will spread once again, reaching further and further. I know this citadel, they tend to protect it, but this is bigger than them. It's bigger than each of you individually. It must be stopped and it must be contained if possible. Unfortunately, fate has only showed me possibilities. I cannot read whether we will succeed because not even fate knows yet.
Have you been shown what happens if we succeed?
If we succeed, over time, without its source of what has been feeding the instability, it will stabilize. It will spread and dissipate to where it's gone. The power contained there returned to the world.
Who suffers the most for that? Because there is always a price.
I will be honest. It will be my kind. But again, this is bigger than them. This is but one city. I would gladly sacrifice every single one of them rather than have this continue. Make no mistake, this is more dangerous than it would appear. The goblin roads attract things that should not be in your world. And if the null zone expands and continues to feed power from the Wolfmen's totem, imagine a goblin roads that stretches 100 miles, then 200 miles, then 500 miles.
I don't like that your group is taking the brunt of this. Is there another way?
No, not that matters, not that has a chance of success. Don't worry, I have the authority to make that decision for them. I have made that decision longer than any of you have been alive. Or dead. Each of you knows what this null zone does to your kind. Do you really want it spreading further and further to more cities?
Of course not.
Absolutely not.
No.
We must do what we have to do.
So be it. I'm assuming that means that you will have people working on it on your side as well.
Yes, I am. Though I can see the threads, it is quite clear I am not allowed to directly go and retrieve apart from my side. I am bound by, you could call them rules. I prefer to put them as self-imposed limitations. I see the strands of fate. My hand has too much control if I were to directly grasp it.
Is Delphine manifest? Like, truly manifest?
She appears to be. I don't know. Franklin, you going to attempt to see?
Yeah. Why not?
She is physically here. But
Because Jackie's seen a few spirits in her time, and this one's different.
she is definitely manifest here. Something sings to your avatar being in her presence when you start probing her. But the best way to describe it is this is a very old soul. And as soon as you start probing at her, her eyes cut to you and she just stares at you.
No offense. I just wanted to make sure that you were actually here.
It is a weakness of your kind. Always has been. Even before.
She's standing just at the table with us, right?
Yeah. She hasn't moved from where she stepped into the room other than to put the book down. She stands. You notice that she doesn't fidget. She doesn't have those kind of motions that most people have. She's not even blinking, really.
She doesn't have the idleness of life.
No.
All the same, standing slightly up and reaching over the table towards her and holding out my hand. Well, thank you for the book, at the very least.
And when she touches you, there is no banality, not even a hint. Zero. In her. She is infused with the spark of creation itself. Lovely to meet you. I don't see your kind on my side. Your kind are spared that fate.
There are some of mine who can speak to you on your side.
But they do not come over. You're not trapped.
No. I've been told that any who venture to where you are idiots.
I would say that about any who venture to where I am. Even myself, sometimes I question.
Storyteller, did she feel cold?
No. She doesn't feel, she feels alive, warm. Skin is supple.
While he's talking to her, scent of true form, what would she smell?
Well, what would that reveal? Her actual, what she is?
If I'm aware of it, yes.
She
or something
is
close to her.
human. Very much so human. But there is a tinge definitely of She is human, but also a spirit, but also something else all at once.
And I don't smell any death on her?
No.
I recommend, of course, some of us are the leaders of our people. We can make decisions, gather our troops, and send them out to do things. But for you, and she looks to the Selkie, take the book back to your leader. I pray she is wise.
From what's been presented, I don't think she'll have reason to argue against.
We are all going to have to work in ways and places that are accessible to us.
It would behoove us to warn whoever we're going to send on this trusted errand that they may not come back.
Oh, absolutely. Please. My people are going to have to raid a sealed chantry. I will not ask any of you for items to assist because I can almost guarantee that the Tremere have warded it against any of you.
Except for themselves.
Except for themselves.
Because then how would they get in?
Exactly.
From what I'm reading preliminarily, it seems that we both have the fragments already, and they are completely useless.
They need to be retrieved from wherever they have landed or have been taken to. Because I don't presume that these other realms are vacant.
They've been there an awful long time, and anything that exists along them has probably claimed them as their own.
Exactly.
My kind enters a realm of pure possibility. Everything's there.
I must
That's
depart.
frightening.
Much in it.
I am, unfortunately, it takes a lot for me to return to here. I have to go. I will gather my people. Queen Jacqueline. When mine are ready, and they have done what they must do. If she survives, I will send Isabella to see you to let you know we are done.
Thank you.
And Franklin, I must beg your apology. I have wronged you.
In what way?
In my haste and anger, I lashed out. It doesn't matter now how or why. Just understand I am sorry, and you will find out why in time. But I do regret my action. It was undeserved.
I accept your apology, and I'm glad that you have learned a lesson from it.
Hard to teach me a lesson. I've been around so long. And she takes and puts her mask on. I have to leave again. And she gestures, and that opening opens again over a city, but this time it's reversed the direction. You're looking into an antechamber, a room, with a throne on it as she steps through, and the portal closes behind her.
And it's at that point that Tegan will shudder.
And Jackie and Franklin have seen that throne room before.
Mm-hmm.
Jackie just looks at Franklin.
Now it makes sense.
Indeed. I thought her voice was familiar.
I think we should keep this from Mr. Akers.
I'm glad he wasn't here.
Share with the class?
That was the... Don't know if naming her will do anything.
It's a dangerous slope.
Names have power.
So let us just
Certainly.
say that is an entity that is ancient and powerful.
Mm-hmm.
I seldom deal with the dead.
And Delphine means womb.
She didn't smell dead.
She didn't feel dead. And even as far as the dead go, the few I've interacted with, she was even more significantly palatable than the common variety.
It would make
And she's-
sense. She is the All-Mother. Her name, Delphine, that she used, means womb.
Yeah.
Mr. Rand, I say this with the utmost respect. I would like to not be introduced to world-changing beings in your presence anymore.
I would also appreciate if world-changing beings would not leave gifts on my desk.
Unfortunately, I am a world-changing being, so you're shit out of luck on that one.
My, that ego.
Oh, we
That's
all
refreshing.
are. We all change the world daily, as a matter of fact. Most people just don't pay attention to it anymore.
Fortunately.
Well, you all have your copies. If there is anything that you need of my advisors, let me know.
I'll hand out business cards to Gwen and Tegan.
I will do the same.
Same.
And best of luck to your people in their missions. Truly.
Yes, we're going to need it.
I
Yeah.
understand that the likelihood of losses will be high, even for my own.
We're born with that understanding.
Indeed
The
you
war
are.
calls us.
Indeed you are.
Going to the Umbra? Not a cakewalk, especially here.
Yeah. And that is why I wished for all of us to come together to solve this problem. Because it does affect all of us.
For this noble quest, I think we shall find several who will be willing or will volunteer.
Good.
Should
Find
we
people.
prepare ourselves for opposition from our own internal strife? I know for a fact that if word gets out that we're going to be punching a hole to the far realms, that the technocracy is not going to like that.
Well, I assume internal difficulties will be what they are.
Do you want me to cloak it? For when you punch through, you're cloaked?
I'm going to take out my phone and show the class a set of pictures on the balcony of my bar that is just a life-size replica of the Stargate.
And Jackie, I saw that movie.
The creator of our kind that is punching a hole has hidden our artifact in plain sight. We're having a viewing party for the anniversary of this film and activating it at the same time.
So fascinating to see what others build. I'm used to much different designs.
Oh, the colloquial term for this one is nerd. They are.
Yes, we have some of those as well.
Yeah, they are super nerd.
Would you like the totem I can create to match your Stargate?
No, please.
Are you sure? I'd want to make sure I get the theme right.
No. Just the more powerful it is, the surer we can get to landing in the right area.
You know what? I'll make sure you get the right coordinates, just so you can go super nerd.
They will love that from you.
Of course, I'll make sure my glasswalkers work on it with some thirches.
Tegan will tap on a page that the book seems to be open about halfway. This particular phrase, I'm not sure if you all will be able to read it the same, and they spin the book around. And it's definitely in the same handwriting, but it's sort of an odd poem in the way it's written. Like, there's no meter, no rhyme, but you can just sort of tell that it's meant to be a poem. There is a subtext I don't think any of you would see here. But this says that we need to be looking so far that it's near. I believe I know exactly where our particular items or whatever would represent them might be for our side. I don't envy those who get sent after it. But I think it's possible for us to retrieve them fairly easily, unless all that infinite possibility tries to stop them.
From the places that we've landed in our attempts to get into the far realms, we've encountered some kind of chicanery is the best word. And so I assume that because we are using the church as a focal point, that we are looking for something of cunning, some kind of trickster creature guarding this thing.
You're dealing with a coyote.
Not what I wanted to hear.
Hey, it's better than dealing with a Nuwasha.
I don't know what that is.
We're a coyote.
Of course, there would be other were creatures.
Forests.
That seems somehow less dangerous than a wolf.
You think.
I'm also one who knows appearances don't mean the full picture.
At least it's not a Mowgli. Those are dinosaurs when they get mad.
Are you serious?
We're alligator crocodile. Don't you think they're in the sewers down in Chicago?
Oh my gosh.
They turn into dinosaurs when they get into their war form.
Oh my goodness.
Could I have a list of all the other were creatures that exist along with this fetish, this totem trinket that you're going to give?
Just be glad you don't have to deal with the rogue here. We're sharks.
Just give me a list, please. I don't get confused with every name you throw out.
Then send us a copy as well.
Right. May Gaia give me all of the pens and information to funnel through you.
I'm sure you have a glasswalker for that.
Many, yes.
I'll make a piece of paper and a ballpoint pen appear out of nowhere. just to be facetious. Just to be facetious.
I thought we were being civil.
This is civil. It's ballpoint.
It's good to know.
There is one more thing that I was instructed to do before any true agreement was settled. And Tegan will then hold out their left hand flat, sort of center of the table, and then spread their fingers out just enough. If you all could please place your hand anywhere upon mine.
Which one of the two? And I'll give a wink to Tegan. And then just put my hand on top of the human hand.
Jackie will do the same.
And then you're not quite sure how it's managed, but somehow in making a fist, they are holding all of your hands in said fist. And then in rapid succession, with no time to think, each of you are kissed on the lips. And you feel a strange ripple pass through you. It doesn't feel uncomfortable, but it's more just weighted. You can tell that there's something important being established. If you all would please make a solemn promise, we will not interfere with each other. We will not harm each other's interests. If we are to be allies, let us confirm such.
I swear it will be done.
It will be done.
By Guy, it will.
And you all feel something lock in place within your soul, your heart, you're not quite sure. And then they very gently will unfurl their fist and let your hands go.
Don't only charge dinner for this.
Not as wet as I thought it was going to be.
I just advise not to break it. It will be unpleasant. We're all involved.
I am nothing like my predecessor, who would, and she looks to the Garou and says, hunt your kind.
That's good.
Likely cause issues for your kind, and she looks to the Selkie. And of course have no respect at all for your kind, and she looks at Frank.
There are some amongst us who called him Dicker.
You did too.
Oh,
I was
glad to see.
quite satisfied when I took his head.
Pity.
Should have been here for that.
You should have. You would have applauded. But yes, I am nothing like him. I understand when a problem is bigger than I can personally handle, I need to rely on allies. And I am a woman of my word.
You also don't seem the type to run your kind like a military installation.
This is true.
Well, that depends. There are different ways to run a military. However, there are enemies that are more important than the other supernaturals trying to just exist in this city. We can cohabitate. This is our first test.
As long as peace is on the table, we'll respond in kind. If there is no Decker or no Jackson, we will respect the peace.
There is no Decker, no Jackson. Jackson barely holds Chicago now. He's the puppet of a Archon.
Also heard that your kind in Chicago are currently going through something of hell.
That's the reason I left.
So, yes, and our numbers are going up a little bit. My recruitment drives are working. Funny, people want to come to a place where they can possibly thrive and succeed.
It's also good for the cheese curds.
If you don't want somebody to reach your seat, just let us know. We might know certain people on some road.
Appreciate
travel
it.
difficult.
Appreciate it.
I will say, and Tegan once again points at our dear vampire, your kind's involvement will make certain groups of ours upset, but as you have said, this is bigger than everyone.
It is, and my kind will not be involved in any of your dealings.
Oh, of course.
I
but
understand how problematic we are for many of you.
there are some who are more zealous in your opposition than others.
Of course. And even within my own kind, there are some that are not in favor of collaboration. But I will keep my people focused on finding that keystone, because it is in a former vampire holding.
We will simply focus on our fragments, and all should be well.
Exactly.
Same.
Yes.
And then, of course, pool resources, I'm certain.
I feel almost a little bit of a burden since I've had to ask for help from the Lupines.
Guru.
The Guru. Yes, sorry.
Guru.
All the habits. Tegan, will your kind need anything from me?
I don't believe so. We tend to avoid yours for a different reason.
I don't know why, but I can imagine.
Some of us are the subject of too many experiments.
Exactly where I was thinking.
And I will say that the gift of mine is the research you now hold in your hands.
I wish I could have taken a look at the actual first edition, but...
It's still there.
It's
Oh, it is?
Yeah,
You left
You,
it?
you,
That's-
you have
God,
about
that's-
another hour before.
No, actually, 4 days.
4 days. Oh,
It lasted 4 days last time. That's how long it took to copy.
You have another 3 days before it goes away. That's how long
What
it
hap-
lasted last time.
What happens if I make a copy of the original?
Well, we'll find out in 4 days, but I'll tell you, it disappears.
Ah, damn it.
I know, right?
I'm guessing that would include, like, photos or stuff like that as well.
Photos would work, hand copies, but any direct duplicate of the original
Which
will
Paige
fade.
could do.
would fade when it goes back.
What if, and I know this might incur some paradox,
Put some
What
prime
if
in that.
using the actual book, I use correspondence and time to pull it from its original place in time.
Oh, so you get the actual book.
So right
you
before
have a lot
it
less-
goes into the right before it goes into the Shadowlands, it comes to our possession.
You have a lot less issues with paradox, but I'll tell you,
Yeah.
that would fail.
Okay.
The threads of fate have decreed it must go to that side for her to find it.
Right.
Right.
And
So,
she sees the gears turning in Franklin's head. She's been around Franklin enough to notice when the gears are turning. She's like, no.
I'm just
She needs that to give to her people so they can hunt their piece. If they don't get
Right,
their
I-
piece, we all fail.
I could just pull it out of its moment in time, create a copy of that book, and then put it right back where it belongs so that it gets to where it needs to go. And that way we each have a valid copy of the original.
This isn't a valid copy.
It is a valid copy.
It's a valid copy, but this is...
I know he's so obsessive sometimes.
The mage.
Like,
If it helps, I have a Polaroid camera in my truck. I can just go retrieve it.
I have
I'm-
a phone.
I'm the reason you have copies of the book.
I thank you for that, Franklin.
Thank you, but why accept what you can have in the moment instead of going for more than what you need?
I would find
True.
it goes against my better judgment, being raised a hermetic, but
Oh, that explains it.
It explains everything, does it not?
Mm-hmm.
I've
Yes.
heard about hermeticism. Interesting practices.
I'm not like the rest of them.
So you say, instead of trying to go back to get the original copy. Mm-hmm. Tell me more.
I would rather have plucked the original copy from its time than the Tremere and the original copy itself. I would have put them back regardless. This isn't Back to the Future. I'm not creating a new timeline. I'm just
Yeah, that's-
fixing it.
Yes, Marty McFly.
Do you try that right here?
Nerd.
I mean, it's not like it takes you a long time to try it.
No, like with the time and correspondence and Prime, I could plug it out permanently out of its time sphere and out of its timeline, create a copy of it, and then put it right back using the same spheres.
It should work, but it doesn't. Reality doesn't bend to your will in this case. It should. You know it should. It felt like it worked, but it didn't.
Yeah.
It belongs to the All-Mother.
This bothers me
Why does it bother you?
because she owes me one.
Why does she owe you?
Owes you one where she said you won't know until it happens, which means she hasn't technically done it yet.
No, she has done it.
She's done it.
What?
She did it in front of us.
Yes, she did. I bore witness.
I tried.
It-
These will have to do.
Have.
Yes. I'll take my copy, put it in my satchel.
It's bad.
I will take the original back to my office. It'll return from there.
I'd like to get a couple of photographs, at least of ours, so that I can tell my Thursdays what they need to know.
Well, how many copies do you need? I can just create them for you.
Oh no, if I've got the original, why would I need another copy?
Understood.
So, all right, everyone. Well, thank you for being willing to come and assist.
Thank you for introducing a new idea.
I have high hopes for us.
Thank you for offering peace where Decker did not.
That is my pleasure. Truly.
When you have time, you can come to my club if it's possible, and I'd like to introduce you to some people.
I would enjoy that.
You let me know if you can have some what.
I can. And she
Perfect.
goes out and she says, "You all have a lovely evening." And she takes her copy and the original with her as she leaves.
And as the group separates, welcome to Queen's Gambit, everyone. We will see you next week for the first episode of this mini chronicle. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.
Thank you, everyone, for coming out for episode 1 of Queen's Gambit. This chronicle will continue next Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern, where you'll get to see this story unfold. Please join us on the Discord. The cast you will see for the entire Queen's Gambit chronicle all came from members of our Discord. We also do Zoom chats as we can, and we do non-stream games when available. Please, if you want to catch our back episodes of World of Darkness content and all kinds of other games, pop over to our YouTube. You can also pop over to Ishvel's channel if you want to see D&D 5e or Call of Cthulhu, because that is where our British DM Tiss stores her stuff. If you want to see some amazing content creators, all of which you will see at some point in Queen's Gambit, you can pop over to our friends list here. There's Ravenous Archon, Junie Von Esch, Mischievous Red, and Rerolls. All of them you'll see at some point in Queen's Gambit. If you want to get you some studio merch, pop over to our merch store. Please sign in before you do so, because there's some adult stuff in there. If you want to support the players, bits and donations, they go to the players, not to the studio. But if you wish to support the studio, you can go to our KoFi. You can subscribe here on Twitch, or if you're watching on YouTube, you can always like the video, comment on the video, subscribe to the channel. All of that will drive us up in the search ratings. Now, for the schedule coming up, there is no Call of Cthulhu tomorrow, but at 8 p.m. Eastern, we kick off a brand new chronicle, which is Chicago Hidden City. It's run by Junie Von Esch. We're establishing the Juniverse over here at McStabber Studios. There's some amazing players in it. You'll want to check that out. And of course, next Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern, we have Vampire Dark Ages. Wow, fucked up shit's happening. And then Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern, we return back to Queen's Gambit. The first episode in the series is going to be the vampires and how they start to deal with their portion of this mission. And as we end these streams, always, please, everybody, take your mental health seriously. Take the mental health of others seriously. Check in on those around you. Make sure they're okay. I know a lot of people are not okay, and it just takes a kind word, reaching out to be a lifeline that they need in life to get them off that edge. And if you suffer from mental health issues, it's okay to not be okay. Mental health is health, everybody. And I want you to reach out to your own support network. But if you don't feel you can, in chat's a list of numbers you can call or text 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, that you can have a professional on the other end of the line to help you out and to get you out of crisis. And if you're watching this on YouTube or you're not in the US, you can go to findahelpline.com to get the mental health you need, because mental health is health and we take it very seriously. And finally, Mama's not here in this video part to give her portion outro. Get your damn shots and make sure you register to vote, and vote for the party that is actually capable of governing, capable of passing a budget, and isn't trying to tell women what to do with their bodies, because that's fucked up. I do thank you all for coming. See you tomorrow. Good night, everybody.